Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, yeah.
Hi, this podcast today of More Stories brought to you by Stamps.com. There's no doubt small business operations have improved over the years because of technology that includes mailing and shipping thanks to Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer whenever you need it. 24/7. No more wasting time at the post office. What a hassle! No need to lease an expensive postage meter. Stamps.com offers more features than a meter and at a fraction of the price. Plus, Stamps.com customers receive special discounts on mailing and shipping you can't even get at the post office on priority mail, express mail, and more. No wonder Stamps.com customers have already printed over $3 billion in postage. I use Stamps.com. You should too. Use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for my special offer. No risk trial, $110 bonus offer, includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the top of the on the home page. There's a microphone. Click on it. Sorry, it's been a long day. Type in my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R. That's Stamps.com. Enter Mohr, M-O-H-R. Where were you 18 years ago, guys, listening right now? 18 years ago is a long time. I was 32. No. More. Wow. It's longer than people even think. The reason I'm asking is because my guest, Damien Echols, spent 18 years, 78 days? Yes. 78 days on death row. Mm-hmm. Damien, first of all, I appreciate you coming here. You're quite a get.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have many singers, athletes. We've had boxers. We've had the Black Crows. You, oddly, are in a subculture of celebrity that I'm sure you never, ever could have dreamed that you'd be in, and that is wrongly convicted as part of the West Memphis 3, as we know. You and Jason Baldwin and Jesse, obviously, Jr., 3 boys murdered in Arkansas. You guys got, we know now, unfairly and horribly and just absolutely brutally raked over the coals and through the system. And I got to tell you, I'm more starstruck sitting across from you than I have been with Jay Leno, Charlie Sheen, anybody like that, because I've never met anybody that's gone through anything close to what you've gone through. And I feel very small speaking with you. So just thank you in advance.
Well, thank you for having me.
Obviously, your time is very precious. No one knows that. More than you. Damien Echols' book is called Life After Death. If you're going to buy one book, why don't you buy this one? You, in the book, I mean, I don't know how you want to go about this. If you want to go about this linearly, part of your plea to get out of jail after 18 years, 78 days on death row was, I didn't even know this existed, the Alford pleas. And part of the plea is, to assert your innocence, you have to acknowledge that the prosecutors have enough evidence to convict you.
I had actually never even heard of it myself before they came to me with this, before they approached me with the idea of doing this. Really what it comes down to, it's a way for the state to get off the hook without having to pay you anything. Whenever this deal came up, whenever we're discussing doing this, the prosecutor's first and only question was, will he sign a waiver saying he gives up all rights to sue the state of Arkansas?
And I guess if you're on death row, you'll kind of sign a waiver. I mean, if they asked you to do a tap dance in front of City Hall twice a year, you probably would have done that as well.
Yeah. You know, people ask me now, did I have any reservations about doing it or second thoughts or anything like that? And the answer is no. I mean, I was dying. You know, I'd been on death row for 18 years. I'd been in solitary confinement for almost 10 years. I was losing my eyesight, going blind. I weigh 60 pounds more right now than I did whenever I walked off of death row last year. It was just horrific. You know, they're not going to spend a lot of time and money and energy taking care of somebody they plan on killing. So there's almost no medical care. There were nights when I was certain I was going to die before the sun came up, when I didn't think I was going to make it through. I knew also, you know, we have a documentary coming out in December called West of Memphis, and the prosecutor does an interview in this documentary. He says his main concern in doing this deal was the fact that me, Jason, and Jesse could have collectively sued the state for $60 million. I had to take into consideration they can have me stabbed to death for a pack of cigarettes any day of the week in prison. So I knew whether it's just due to failing health or whether it's violence, whatever it was, I knew if I didn't take this deal, I was never going to live to see the outside of those walls again.
You said something that really just hit my ear oddly, and that is you were dying every day. And it's weird to hear someone on death row with a date with death dying in the process. You never really hear that angle.
Yeah.
I guess you don't hear any of their angles because they die. But you're dying every day, and you're dying every day on death row. I don't think anybody's ever heard it explained that way before.
No. I mean, it's you really are. People ask me a lot of times, was I scared that I was going to be executed? Did I think the state was going to execute me? And I didn't. I really didn't think it would get that far. My health was going downhill so rapidly that I thought I would
What specific? Oh, your eyesight. And
my
probably
eyesight,
your mental health was.
That also, God, yeah. I was breaking down in just about every way a human being can break down. You know, a lot of it. I still have health problems to this day. Whenever I first got to prison, it was almost like it's nothing personal. The guards just decide they're going to welcome me to the neighborhood. So they carry me to the part of the prison they call the hole. It's a part of the prison in complete isolation from the rest, where they can do anything they want to you. And for the next 18 days, they beat the living hell out of me. They'll come into the cell midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, chain you to the bars of the cell, and just take turns beating you.
And this is at Varner Supermax?
That was before then. That was at the Tucker Maximum Security Unit prison, where I was in the very beginning. They beat me bad enough that I started to piss blood for a while. Still to this day, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with my kidneys hurting from problems from that. Also, you know, in prison, my teeth. Oh, God, that was probably the worst agony, was my teeth, because I'd been hit in the face so many times that I had a lot of nerve damage. Well, in prison, especially on death row, they're not going to do caps, crowns, root canals, none of that. You have the choice. Either you can live in pain or you can let them pull your teeth out. So there was a period of about 3 years whenever I was in absolute misery because I didn't want to live without my teeth, so I was trying to just live with the pain.
You mentioned teeth, and it's a very important part of the trial. John and Mark Byers, you guys all gave teeth indentations because Stevie Branch was one of the children that were killed, and he had almost perfect bite marks in his forehead. You guys, all three of you guys, gave teeth impressions to the state.
Yes.
None of them matched.
Right.
When they asked John Mark Byers, the stepfather of the father, of Christopher Byers, when they asked him to give a tooth indentation, he had miraculously
lost all of his teeth.
He had them all removed.
Yeah, he gave several different stories. One was that he lost them in a bar fight. One was that he was having some sort of dental trouble, so he had them all pulled out. He gave 3 or 4 different stories, which made it look even more suspicious.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
The one in the court transcript, the one that I read extensively when I knew you were coming as quickly as I could. Of course, I knew from Paradise Lost. My wife, when we met, one of the first things she had us do was watch Paradise Lost together and pointed out the injustice and how terrible all of this was. Well, she always said, John, this is my wife telling me, this is not Damien saying this. My wife said, the father did it. John Mark Byers did this. This is so simple. And it's... When I watched the documentary again and again, and he's not, doesn't seem like a particularly smart man to lend the camera crew of the documentary one of his hunting knives, which happens to have his and his son's blood on it, which the state just sort of explains away. I think literally like, well, did you ever lend your knife out? Hey, it happens.
Yeah.
And then when they asked him to give a teeth indentation, the explanation I read, which is so fantastical, I take psychotropic drugs that make me grind my teeth, so I had to have all my teeth pulled. Mm-hmm. So basically the state says, hey, if we can get a teeth match, we could prove you're not guilty. And he just says, oops. I don't have no more teeth no more. It's one of the most fascinating and horrible, tragic stories in my life, in any lifetime that you lived. And there's no amount of anything. Suing the state for $60 million is never going to give you 18 years and 78 days back.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, that's even off the table now. Whenever we left Arkansas, we left like refugees. I left there without one single penny in my pocket. I didn't have a suit of clothes to change into. I had nowhere to go. So we left there running, just trying to get away as fast as we could. And the entire past year, people expect you to just be really happy and excited that you're out of prison, and you are in a lot of ways. But at the same time, it's been hard because of those reasons. And it's also been hard just trying to learn to live in the world again. Just little things. Like, for example, I didn't even walk anywhere for almost 20 years without chains on my feet. So now, whenever I first got out, I was tripping over my own feet, tripping downstairs, tripping over curbs. I couldn't do anything for myself or by myself. I had to have someone with me, almost escorting me around like an invalid for several months after I first got out. It's been really, really hard.
You've been out 1 year?
1 year and 2 or 3 months now.
I'll say that it's interesting. You probably know it to the day. It's almost like it's like nothing. You know what? I'm a guy that always wants to put an analogy on something. It's kind of like, no, it's not like anything. Damien Echols' story is unlike anything anyone listening to this could even possibly imagine. Buy his book, Life After Death, and make sure you get the documentary that he made with Peter Jackson, West of Memphis. I will tell this to our 250,000 listeners. You came in this room and you walked to the window and childlike, and I mean that in not just matter-of-factly, said, look at this view. And you just, it was for watching someone, almost like how a Buddhist would say, being completely present. You are a guy that is completely present. And I've been in this room for 8 days, and I don't think I ever stared out that window with the state of mind and complete awareness that you did in those 6 seconds. It was very touching and heartbreaking to watch. It was fascinating. I can't imagine what the world is like after 18 years walking in chains. What keeps you going when you're on death row? When you have a date with your end, you have an expiration date. You're going to expire at a certain date. What was your date? Do you know it?
My original execution date was May 5th of 1994, and I came even closer to that than I should have because the lawyers I had at the time, they were court-appointed attorneys. They were so incompetent they didn't realize they had to file an appeal on my behalf. They thought it would just be somehow miraculously filed automatically. So I got very close to the execution date before someone made them realize, no, you have to file paperwork or they're about to kill him. You seem to be in one of those situations where my wife and I talk about this a lot when we look at mysteries, and we like watching the shows and the thing, and it seems like whenever you watch a real show and they build a case, they being a prosecution, they really don't cast a net to really get the actual person. Mm-hmm. They decide who they want and they build the net around that person. Exactly. Yeah.
And you were a perfect confluence of events and situations. You had the goth look. They said it was a satanic ritual. In an unrecorded interview, they say that it was a lot of he said, she said, that you said one of the boys' genitals was mutilated, and they're like, he never would have known that unless he was there, because it wasn't in the newspapers, but it was on TV. And they got into very murky water, which is so scary about the American judicial system, that they start saying things like, in regards to John Mark Byers, the DNA at the scene was not, what was it exactly? It was not inconsistent with Mr. Byers' DNA. Instead of just saying this is a potential match, they have to now use the specific language to massage everything away from everyone else except from Damien Echols.
Yes.
And being 18 and being the only legal adult, they just pegged you as the ringleader. And it is the very definition of an American railroad job that you lived.
That, and I was also the one that the media had a huge part to do with this, the local media there. Before we went to trial, I was in jail for a year waiting to go to trial. In that year, almost every single day, you've got newspaper headlines coming out. You've got TV shows doing all these stories. Every single one is like stories.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts. Oh, yeah!
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, buddy.
Business operations have improved over the years because of technology that includes mailing and shipping thanks to Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer whenever you need it. 24/7. No more wasting time at the post office. What a hassle! No need to lease an expensive postage meter. Stamps.com offers more features than a meter and at a fraction of the price. Plus, Stamps.com customers receive special discounts on mailing and shipping you can't even get at the post office. Type in my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R. That's Stamps.com. Enter Mohr, M-O-H-R. Where were you 18 years ago, guys, listening right now? 18 years ago is a long time. I was 32. No, more. Wow. It's longer than people even think. The reason I'm asking is because my guest, Damien Echols, spent 18 years, 78 days?
Yes.
78 days. Hi, this podcast today of More Stories brought to you by Stamps.com. There's no doubt small business on priority mail, express mail, and more. No wonder Stamps.com customers have already printed over $3 billion in postage. I use Stamps.com. You should too. Use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for my special offer. No risk trial, $110 bonus offer, includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the top of on the homepage. There's a microphone. Click on it. Sorry, it's been a long day.